When Jimmy met Callie.
There you go.
Oh my
Perfect.
gosh, yes.
We just eat things in the park all the time. That's all we're doing. I enjoy it. I would watch that and I would participate.
Oh my
I would be there.
Okay, so let's get to playing here.
Eating things in the park, just so we're clear.
That's just literally what they do. So the past couple of weeks have been a roller coaster for our coterie here, for numerous reasons. If you missed it, a quick update. I'm not going to go over what happened 2 weeks ago. You should probably go watch that. It was a very intense episode, but they accomplished their mission, and in the process found out one of the sires of theirs, Emmys and Varys's, had been killed, and they kind of did the death blow to their own sire in a way to make sure that their job was completed. Last week was much more of a downbeat after that. There was a lot of the party separating, not out of fighting, but just information gathering, trying to come into the realization, at least for some of them, that this is kind of their life now, and if they want to make headway, if they want to get answers, they need to be part of the machine. Little cogs in a very big political machine. In that, we saw Varys basically kind of eat his own pride, at least in front of Mr. St. Clair, and offer to work with him. We'll look at that today. Callie went off and did Callie things. She went into the sewers for basically an entire week without being seen by her coterie, and just ripping through books, talking to who she can, getting as much information as she can, mostly looking for information about Lionel. While wasn't able to come across too much about Lionel specifically, she did find some threads to start pulling on, and found out that the current prince has only been ruling the city for about a decade, and it was actually a relatively forceful mutiny that could have been in the works for who knows how many years, to throw off the matriarch who was running the city for well over 200 years beforehand. And the reason that she found that out is because Lionel's name did appear one time in her research, when she was researching the matriarch, and it came up while talking about the matriarch, and Lionel's name wasn't alone. It was a list of other names that were kind of just there, who were just a part of whatever vampirical historical meeting that they were a part of. He was kind of just a footnote, more or less. And she kept that information to herself for now. Jimmy had a little bit of a talk with Varys, actually spent some time with Emmy, and really kind of made a connection with Emmy as they went to the graveyard to try and find more information about what happened to or why that person was buried there that they ended up resurrecting. They ran into Nosferatu again, did a little bit of information bartering, and then Jimmy got at the end of the session got a text from his sire, hiccup, Moonbow, who said, "Meet me at an address a few days from now," more or less. He didn't say much else. And then Emmy, on her own, like I said, bonded with Jimmy along the way. Tried to dominate one of the guards to figure out where Mr. St. Clair was being taken away from. Wasn't able to get by them, but then ended up buddying up with, was it Callie? Yeah, it was Callie at the end of last session. And her and Callie are going off to the church where they found the Sanctum little hideout that they ran into 2 or 3 weeks ago at this point, to see if there's anything there for them to find.
Where we found Tiddlywink, R.I.P.
Yeah, where Tiddlywink was initially found. Other things that people, that just questions in the air that the chat has been talking about in threads that are in the air. Does the Weeping Lady still mean anything? Is it useless? Why was Lionel's name brought up? Did he have anything to do with the mutiny or not? How are they handling it? And at the picking up this session, I think we're gonna pick up with Callie and Emmy at the church. That's kind of where we left off, and then we'll kind of go around and hit every one of the players and set up what's about to happen. So, remind me exactly what the plan is for Emmy and Callie at the church. You were at this church, you know. As you actually approach the church, just for a scene for you guys, much like I said before, this church was at the very back of the park. It was kind of away from everything. It was not too far from a street, but far enough away where there were enough trees and stuff to kind of block it from view. A rather big fight went down last time you were here, with you, the gargoyles, and some thugs. The church looks like it is currently being repaired. There's scaffolding and everything kind of just set up, and trying to get the bell tower more or less fixed up. You're coming at a point in time where there's nobody working, obviously. The priest is probably around, as you know, he lives here, but it's as abandoned as it was last time you were around here at this late at night. It just looks like somebody is paying for the repair. Probably the government, not vampiric government, but just the government if this is a public place. But that's what you kind of walk up to with just hunks of stone on the ground and scaffolding up the bell tower. So what exactly is your plan here coming up to this church?
I wanted to learn more about the Lancia's sanctum, and I came to Emmy asking pretty much that exact same thing. As we talked about actually pre-show.
No, you just told me you wanted names.
Names would also help.
You gave me no details other than names.
I don't remember. It was a week ago. Okay, so
I
it's true. From what I said to you, I wanted names, like names of people, other people that we can talk to, people high up in the order, who are some of the top dogs or some of the biggest, biggest fish in that pond, so that I may be able to learn more about them. But I need you to do that because as we talked about in a pre-show, it was like we have the same interest in humanity. Like we love how people are put together and how they exist societally, but we go about it in two almost exactly different ways. So that's why I came to you specifically, because I'm like, okay, a 9-year-old, kindred can totally get in here. When my gross ass self cannot. So like I'm like pushing her like, hey, do you want to go on an adventure? Let's go. Now go make friends or do whatever. And I'm just going to be like in the background, like being sneaky and like listening into everything. But I don't have that access that you do.
So more or less the hope is that there's going to be vampires here having a meeting or something, and that you're going to be able to speak with them, or...
That is the hope, yes.
Or if they're not here, rummage through whatever they have here and do some reading and whatnot. No problem. Understood. It has been at least, I think, in-game, like 2 weeks since you were here last, since the battle took place. You had that week where you guys kind of just did your own thing. There were days in between. So we're probably coming up on about 2 weeks since the last time the two of you were here. Is the plan just to go right to the back of the church and open up the basement and go down there? Or do you want to, are you guys going to plan on like hitting up the church first? What do you guys plan on doing like when approaching the church?
I'm just going to walk through the front door.
To the downstairs or to the just into the church itself?
Into the church itself.
Okay, sure. You walk up to the church, and the old wooden doors that were there before are still there, and they are unlocked much like they were the first time around. The doors open with a pained moaning and creaking, as they are rather old, and there's this 9-year-old who, stronger than most 9-year-olds, still little, and she has to kind of like tippy-toe to reach and pull the door open, and just how these these doors are. And as they creak and moan as the doors open, it lets into a very empty but still lit with...
How tall is the doorknob?
Normally... I don't know. I imagine her like this, like pulling it like this, like up above her.
I'm either really short or those doorknobs are really tall.
One or the other.
They could be really long doorknobs. Like it's
True.
a church after all, so they have like the exceptionally long ones. So maybe you just actually like hanging on them.
And you gotta have to maybe press the button at the top, pull it. Either way, the doors open with a creak, letting into a relatively well-lit via candles, just flickering light, causing the shadows to dance all over the old stone walls, and the same old pews that were in the church were there before. But the door in the area to the bell tower that you were walking up to and crumbled, that whole area has just like caution tape and stuff all around it, and you can't... It is obviously just being rebuilt. There's nothing there. And there does not seem to be any evidence of blood or bodies, and that was promised to you by Mr. St. Clair that everything would be cleaned up, and that seems to be the case at the very least over the past couple of weeks. Bodies have been moved and whatnot. You make your way in.
First I was like, why would there be blood and bodies?
From the murders that took place.
Okay.
So you walk in, and both, your little quick footsteps from having short little legs and Callie's more longer, awkward stride echoes throughout this relatively abandoned church, until eventually the door in the back that you remember being the office to the priest's office opens up.
Did Callie want to walk?
Oh yeah, Callie, I apologize. I
don't know if she
I
wanted
assumed you went into the church. My bad. You may not have. Gone into the church.
I am not certain that I would. She's going up in the top way. I'm going to skirt around the back and bottom.
Okay.
Because
similar to what you did last.
Like
time.
I would have. It's one of those things where she was just like, don't go in. Fine. Like.
Yeah. No problem. So you're going to skirt around back to where the basement is and see if that's open. That's fine. So it's just Emmy's little click, 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 click of her little feet walking through the church, echoing throughout, like I said, this old church. And eventually the office door in the back, maybe you're about halfway down the aisle, pops open and out steps a familiar face, the priest, who looks over this church, comes stepping out. He looks around for a minute, seems confused because he doesn't see anybody, and then looks down a little bit and sees Emmy shuffling her way up. A few emotions kind of stir over his face that you can clearly see Emmy. One, it's surprise, first of all, that there's a little kid, and then it's immediately recognition that goes right into fear. As he sees one of the ones who was here a couple weeks ago, part of the cause of this place, a creepy little girl walking into his church. He shuts the door behind him and walks over kind of hurriedly to meet you, lifting his hand in a wave. And you can tell he's trying to hide the fear underneath, but he's not good at it, and he still very clearly looks very nervous.
We are all God's children.
Yeah. Are you though? Are you?
Disgusting as we may be.
Right. So he walks over to Emmy, and he says, my child, you've returned."
Before he gets to me, as he's walking, I want to look at him and
Auspex him?
Yeah.
And that's against his resolve, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, I want an aura perception. I want to perceive his aura. Yeah, so it's intelligence plus empathy plus aspects minus his composure.
Oh, minus his composure? That's a whopping 1. So -1.
So intelligence, empathy, aspects. And I will roll 2.
Sorry. 2. So you see 2 auras off him. Let me get the dice up on the screen for the viewers. My bad. All right, there we go. So you see 2. 1 immediately is dark blue. You see dark blue right out the gate, and you see orange. Both bright as day. They're not dimmed, so he's not a vampire, as you already know, and nothing else. So dark blue and orange, which for the viewers means he is afraid and suspicious.
Okay. Cool. And then he was saying,
he said, "My child, you returned. I did not ever expect to see your face here again, to be honest. How can I help you?"
He was hoping.
Yeah, more or less.
Goodness. Okay. Yeah, I just kind of felt like I needed to come back here.
What drove that need? Can I help you in any way? It's late, and someone as young as yourself should not be out by themselves.
She kind of looks back around. There's no one else in.
No, nobody else is in here. Not that you can see, not that you hear.
Can I increase my vision?
Yep, absolutely. Feel free.
And see if I just take a double take?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're spending like a couple seconds, you hone your hearing, kind of dimming out all your other senses, and just listening for any noise that may or may not sound suspicious to you. And you may go ahead and roll a wits plus not perception. I apologize. It is character sheet. Wits plus composure. That's what it is. Correct.
Damn, 0.
You listen as intently as you possibly can, and other than you actually can hear his breathing a little bit quicker than any normal mortal that you've come across. Is a little bit, he's breathing a little bit fast, probably chalk it up to his nerves. You can also hear the skittering and scampering of tiny little rodents somewhere in the walls nearby, which, again, not a surprise to you. But outside of that, you don't hear
Tiddlywinks family.
You don't hear any other like scuttering. You actually do hear a little bit in the distance, what sounds like maybe the doors at the back of the church are being played with in some way. But you do know Caligari's out there as well, so it could be her.
Okay. So there might be somebody else around.
Yeah, but you also come to the conclusion it's probably Callie messing with the basement doors. But
probably because that's exactly where I'm trying to get into, because I'm trying to figure out like when they get there. Like I want her to infiltrate and like, you know, like just do these people like have mass like down there? Like can she just like show up to mass? Like I don't know how religions go.
Yeah,
like,
and it makes sense.
Harper? Mika Harper has no idea. So
oh yeah, no worries.
Cal probably would, but
you have an idea of how
I'm a little out of line.
The thing about this is going to be something Callie already knows, but the thing about the covenants in this world, no matter how much you research outside of basic like public knowledge, every one of their secrets is utterly locked down. So like outside of what the Lancia Sanctum generally stands for, but you know that about all the covenants, but anything more and more in depth about that is locked tighter than most.
Like how you join up or how you get a tiny 9-year-old monster to also join up.
That isn't as hard.
I'm facilitating.
You are something that is not that. We'll get to that. Don't worry about that. Okay. So the priest continues and says, so you listen in and like I said, the priest says to you, like, someone as young as yourself shouldn't be out here. Like, how can I help you tonight? What can I do?
Oh, well, you know when you feel like you just need someone to talk to?
Yes, many people have that feeling. It's just not many act upon it. But those within my congregation have been... I welcome any conversation that you want. What, do you need to speak? Do we need to go to the confessional? I'd be happy to take your confession.
Oh, how does that work?
So I guess I would think that Emmy might know how that works, but I don't know if she would or not.
It's up to you. That's up
I feel
to
like
you and your family history.
Yeah, I think her and her grandfather maybe would have gone to like church on Sunday.
Sure. Then you would probably know how confession works.
Okay, I wouldn't say that then.
Yeah, sure.
Actually, no, I will say that.
Okay.
Because I am trying to just bond with this person.
You're trying to basically like bring him off edge as one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. So he actually smiles very pleasantly with you. Still a little bit of a look and fear in his eyes. He says, well, it's actually very simple. If there's anything you feel you've done wrong, you can tell me and I will, the Lord rather, through me, will absolve you of those sins. And anything you tell me will be kept dearly secret by me. It is an oath that I uphold. And nothing you tell me will go to the ears of anybody else. It is between you and I.
Fat fucking chance that she's going to be absolved of anything. I love this.
They're gonna
I love
put
it.
me right into hell. Well, I don't actually want to tell him and confess the things that I've done because then
Sure.
he'd probably be even more afraid of me. But I think I think she has a way to do this because she's all about the manipulation. So
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Sure. That sounds like something that might be nice to get some things off my chest.
He smiles and he actually puts his hand like on your head in a gentle way and says, "Please, this is right in there. You can." And he gestures over to the confessional and ushers you into like the one you would go into, and he goes into his. It basically goes through a spiel. You can't see through like the veil. You can kind of see like a shadow of his figure, but you can't see him specifically. But you can hear him fine. And he basically says whatever it is that he says, a prayer and whatnot, and he kind of guides you what you to say, like, thank you, Father, blah, 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 it's been X long since you've been to confession, and he basically opens it up for you to speak to him and say what you wish to say to him.
Part of me wants to be like, so the other day I went to a club and I may have drained someone of all their blood.
No, I'm just kidding.
I don't really know how this works, I guess, but it's less of a confession, but more of... I feel really alone. Do you ever feel alone?
I would lie if I said I didn't. Everybody feels alone sometimes. It's a natural emotion to feel. Tell me, why do you feel alone?
Well, my grandpa died. And now... Well, I have a friend, but I don't know. And then I met some other people, and, well, it's hard to read people sometimes.
And she's really like not telling him like truth things because she just, but kind of edging it because she wants to basically just have him empathize with her. So I'm just trying to like use that.
Yeah, of course. So you basically you want to manipulate him and take him off edge, more or less, is my guess. That's totally fine. Why don't we do a roll for that? It'll be a manipulation roll. Manipulation plus persuasion. You're basically just trying to bring him down off edge, more or less. And we're gonna give you just a -1 just for his innate fear and knowing what happened, even though you've been able to do, you know.
Can I negate that -1 with my persuasion emotional appeal?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Yeah, you have your specialty of a +1 for emotional appeals. So yeah, you negate that. It's just a flat manipulation plus persuasion.
3 successes.
So basically over the course of we'll say 15-20 minutes, you're telling him sweet little lies for the most part. Like you said, you're not telling him everything. But over that time, you can visibly hear his voice get less, I guess, quick with how it talks, and you can hear his panic kind of slowly go away over the course of that time until you're pretty confident, at least from where you are, that he is relatively off edge. Is he ever going to be 100% off edge knowing what he's seen and what you guys did? Probably not, but he's about as comfortable as he can get with the knowledge that he has.
And I guess even in this time, maybe she does bring up what happened in the church.
Okay.
And that, like, she feels bad for him type of thing.
Okay. Yeah, and he thanks you for more or less saying you feel bad, and you acknowledge the fact that everything went down, and he forgives you 100%. He doesn't even question it, and, you know, basically says sometimes bad things happen with or without your intention of them happening.
Yeah, well, sometimes worse things would happen if we didn't do bad things.
He takes that in for a second, doesn't really say anything, and he says, well, young Emmy, I don't think I fully agree with you there. I think good intentions and good acts can fully override and stop terrible things from happening. Committing terrible acts to prevent something more terrible from happening is a short-sighted look on life.
She thinks about that, but decides not to respond.
Sure. Is there anything you're looking to get out of him specifically, or just looking to calm him down?
Calm him down. I think
Okay.
further conversation probably is not going to happen in a confession stand.
No problem. So we'll say over that, like, we'll say 15-20 minutes, you guys kind of blabber back and forth. During those 15 to 20 minutes, we'll cut to Callie, who, as Emmy walked into the church, she's like, I'm going to go to the back. And she makes her way back, and the basement, the lock that you ripped open and destroyed last time you were here, is actually not replaced whatsoever. The basement is not locked at all.
I peek in?
Sure. So you kind of jostle with the door, kind of lift it, and again, much like last time, it's those double doors that open up and the stairs that lead down.
Yeah.
And peeking into the stairs, you don't see anything. However, there is a light lit, and it, much like I was saying before, it seems to be flickering and dancing light. So likely a candle is lit down there.
So someone's down there, probably.
Possibly.
Is there any way I can check for that?
Well, just give me a wits plus composure for an off the cuff.
It's composure. Okay, let me make sure I got that good. Roll.
1 success.
Yeah.
So you open the door for a minute. You see that there's a candle, and you just stop everything and just listen very, very intently. And you actually do hear shuffling around down there. And it's a shuffling you recognize, because it sounds like books are being, like, picked up and put down and piled around. But it only sounds like there's maybe just one person down there. There's not a lot of commotion. There's not a lot of footsteps. It just sounds like one person is down there moving things around.
I open the door loudly this time
Sure.
to announce my entrance in a way, so I won't scare them by just showing up. And then I just walk right down. Whoever this is, I can fucking take him.
All right, you actually, like, throw the doors open to meet. You hear, oh, like a jostled startle of a man, and you head downstairs, and there is a long-haired, kind of in a ponytail, and but clean-shaven.
Is it Moonbow?
It is not Moonbow. It is not Moonbow. just in just in shorts and a t-shirt.
Oh my gosh, that would be like plot twist.
Right?
I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing here?
Is this guy in jeans and rather shorts and a t-shirt, like long ponytail but clean shaven, just kind of lifting up books, and he's holding like a stack of books and looked over, rather surprised, somebody walking his way down here.
Not Nosferatu though.
No, not Nosferatu. Whatever.
Does he seem? From what I'm gathering by your description, he is not Lycia Sanctum either.
You're not sure.
He's not fancy.
He's not fancied up. No,
aren't they fancier?
Not necessarily.
He looks trash. I tell him that. I tell him you look like garbage.
It's coming from a nose, and he looks to you with a raised eyebrow, and he's like, coming from a Nosferatu? What the hell are you doing here?
Takes one to know one. Can I gather what kind of vampire he is? Presumably he's a vampire.
Presumably, at least at the very least, he knows what a Nosferatu is, and he doesn't seem immediately scared to run away from you. So, at the very least, he has knowledge of what you are. What vampire he is, what clan he is, you can't tell off the top of you. Like, it's not something you can just be like, oh, you're a Ventru, or oh, you're Maquette. You're not sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's like fancier than the gangrels and stuff? Aren't gangrels like kind of trashy too?
I mean, it's their stereotype, yeah.
My trash friends. Trash friends. Okay,
I mean, yeah, gangrels are stereotyped as kind of the beasts of Chicago.
Yeah.
But he just has books, and he's picking them up. And when you come down here, let me just give you a description of what this place looks like. Yes, last time you were here, there were chains on the wall. It looked as this place was relatively used often. There were chairs in a circle and pews in the corner. There are books everywhere. Now, all the chairs are missing. The pews are still there, but they don't look like they're stacked up in the corner. Most of the books are gone. Though there are still a few piled up, and he seems to be messing with that pile over there. And the chains from the wall look like they have been removed. They are not there. However, the holes where they were like drilled in are still right where they were when you remember it last time.
Does he look like he's organizing, or does he look like he's looting in some way?
Give me a let's see. What am I looking for here? I'm just having you like try and read him more or less. I don't know what that would be for a read off the top of my head. Maybe like a wits plus like we'll go with maybe like a socialized check.
Are you trying to read a person?
Yeah, she's trying to read him. Like immediately, like, oh hey, is he?
I would definitely go with wits.
Yeah.
Wits and empathy is
empathy makes sense. Yeah. Go with that. Yeah, I apologize.
That's like sense motive, right?
Either or.
Yeah, like a sense motive.
Says wisdom, and sense motive. There you go.
Okay, there you go.
Hey,
one success.
I sort of got there.
Yeah, I mean that's all you need is a success. So you read him, like you just look at him to see like quick overview. Does he look like he's robbing? Does he look like he's being suspicious? Yeah. He looks calm. He doesn't look like he's got books sticking out of like in his pocket or under his arms or anything. He looks calm. He looks relaxed. And to your guess, maybe he's continually organizing to take things out of here. You're not entirely sure. There's no boxes around with any books in them, but there's also not that many books here in general. So maybe he's just organizing them or whatnot. But he doesn't look like he was caught in the act. He doesn't look like super surprised.
Okay. I'm gonna try and disarm him a little bit and just say like, have you seen any mice around here? Rats.
He looks around. He's like, I'm sure there's a ton in this old church in the middle of a park. If you just maybe keep an eye out or an ear out.
She goes, I have. Then she starts the books that he puts down. She invites herself to it, and she's like picking up the books too.
Oh,
she's like looking through them. So he starts looking through the books.
Yeah, no problem. So you start looking through the books, and he actually goes, hey, no, Lancia Sanctum, and you're not part of the order, so please, could you not?
I'm sorry. And that valuable in these books?
Information, as you should know, Nosferatu is valuable information, and this is Lancia Sanctum property, so please put it down. I'll only ask nicely one time.
Okay. Sorry, I might be lagging a little bit again.
That's fine. I can hear you.
She shrugs and walks around a bit more. And God, I'm not good at talking.
It's not your character's strength. Not at all.
It's not.
I know those feels. I have a character that's like that, and it's like the roughest thing.
so like she tends to do stuff in action.
Mm-hmm.
She goes to where the chains were. Presuming there's still like, you know, like a hook on the wall where they were.
Yeah, like it's very clear there was something at least in the wall.
Yeah.
You know what was there.
I tug on that a little bit.
He seems to. You kind of wander around. He keeps an eye on you. You mess with that. He ignores you. A few seconds pass, and he's like, "All right, if you're here for rats, you won't be looking at my books, and you're poking at the wall. Can I help you in any way, or should I just try and kick you out now?"
That's fun. She was like she's gonna try and bullshit something.
Sure.
And it's gonna be super dumb. She oh God, this is gonna be terrible. Oh God, this is gonna be terrible. Okay, so she's going to essentially say, and I'm gonna role play through this as soon as I try to express what she is trying to express.
Sure.
Is that she liked having them around. She is going to pretend, and not quite pretend, because she does have like kind of a bolt hole out there somewhere. But she's gonna say like, oh, if you guys are moving, I want to know where. I liked having you in my yard, in a way.
So you're basically trying to lie to him to kind of keep him, like you said, off guard, is my guess.
A little bit. She's going to try and be like a little bit deceptive and hear about like, you know, because she's clearly somewhat familiar with the place. She knows about the rats.
Yeah.
And she's going to try and appeal to like his just like she's going to do a fallback on Nosferatu curiosity,
Gotcha.
which is
no problem.
You're my neighbors and you're moving. What's up?
Yep, no problem.
Okay.
Okay. So you're basically, you asked that question. He's like, well, first things first. The fact you even knew we were here means somebody wasn't fucking doing their job. You shouldn't know that we were here. If you were just down here poking around in the church looking for rats, all right, whatever. It doesn't matter. We're leaving. The fact that you knew we were here, though, sets off alarms. Second, no way in hell.
Nosferatu know a lot of things. Doesn't mean we share them.
Very true.
So I'm trying to make sure that like he kind of knows, give the insinuation that I work alone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because also I'm here alone, so.
Yep. Nope. That's totally fine. He nods, he's like, and I'm not stupid. I know Nosferatu know things. However, as much information as we can keep out of your hands, especially if you're not part of Lancia Sanctum, the better. So can't really share where we're moving now. And he kind of gestures to the door. If you wouldn't mind making your way out of this place.
Before she goes, she takes a look at him, drops to her knees and sniffs at the wall where she met Tiddly.
Okay.
She's gonna try and like sniff out some of the mice and rats and stuff.
You know the smell of mouse and rat shit like no one else in the coterie can, and you absolutely can smell. Is that fresh mouse droppings? Yeah.
Fresh, a new family. Oh. I bring Tiddly's corpse out of my chest. It is disgusting. I have fed on it once, so it's like kind of sick and sad now. And I bring it out, and he's like, you know, like just parts of him are falling away, and I'm like, they're okay, they're safe. And I kiss him on the nose, and I put him away again.
Oh God.
I know.
you actually
horror for a living.
Yeah, in the back, you just hear him like, ugh, fucking.
That's fine.
And then he continues messing with his books, and he's like, can you please, unless you have any more questions, can you just get the hell out?
I exit up into the church, actually.
Okay, you want to go up inside the church itself?
Yep.
Okay, sure. We'll say you went to the church right as Emmy is leaving confession with the good old father. I can't remember his name, but the priest boy. And they're walking out of the confessional. He's like, they're probably just having light conversation, and that's when the doors open, and in, I don't want to say walks, because you don't really walk. You kind of just like, you slurch around. Skulks. Openly skulks Caligari. And you see the two of them walking out of the confessional.
And the priest is, I'm sure, not happy to see me.
He
remembered me.
No, he would absolutely remember you, but he seems lost he's right now just having light conversation with Emmy. He didn't like look up and or anything right away. So do you say anything? Or do you just kind of wait for the priest to notice you?
I don't see anything. I don't pay attention, but I do try and like at least talk to Emmy and just be like, come on, like we gotta like, or at least like, no, like don't, this place is empty now.
Okay. So yeah, as soon
Like
as you say something like,
you know, bad call.
so we'll assume you kind of like call out to Emmy. You're just like in the front, and Emmy will look over, but the priest will look over, and that fear that was there before when seeing you, Emmy, is there like threefold now seeing Caligari. And he's like, all right, well, if you need a place or anything, you can always come to me. And he's like, have a good night, and starts kind of scuttering back to his office unless you stop him, Emmy.
Callie takes one of the candles.
Yeah.
You know how they have like those candles up on the altars and
Yep.
stuff? I pop one of those candles. I take one of those and another Bible. And then I walk out. Like, I'm kind of gesturing at Emmy, like,
Sure.
abort.
Oh man, I wanted to talk to him. Like, I was buttering him up so I could talk to him about other stuff.
You're welcome
priest?
to.
You can totally talk to the priest again.
I will come back I guess.
Okay.
But
Because
I'm
my idea is like, if I send you downstairs to talk to what's his face, that is going to look incredibly suspicious. Or just like I walk up here and then all of a sudden another person just walks down. It's just like, so I'm interested in joining this, and I'm just like, no, this is a bad idea. Like he can't know.
yeah.
So I'm like, we're out.
I got you. Yeah, I think we're on the same page because I was like, oh, if we join them, then we'll find out their stuff. Okay. I will leave then because I see Callie like motioning me. So I stand there for a moment. I think about it because I was like, oh, I wasn't really done talking to you, but you just left. So she's like,
All right, I'll be back. Bye.
and then
This is
she
goodbye.
turns around and skips and follows Callie.
So both of you leave the church. Is there any conversation the two of you want to have before we move on?
Probably, but not in the church.
No. Outside the church. You leave the church. You're
Oh,
out, and then
okay.
you're walking through the park. What have you?
Yeah, I'm bringing her to my little bolt hole place where the gargoyle
Every time you say that, I think you're saying butthole.
bolt hole. Sorry, is there a better way of saying it? Haven hideout. Let's go hideout.
Haven, hideout. Yeah, Haven is the
Hideout.
technical term.
Is the technical term. I have a lot of havens, so
you
it's
can call
like,
it whatever
okay.
you want. I'm just letting people
I-
know that this is why I keep laughing. Every time you
That's
say
fine.
it. I am super
Get rid of the butthole.
So yeah, Callie, you bring her off
Where
to
the
one of your
gargoyle wing is.
one of your quote unquote havens. It's really just kind of like this small little area that you've got a gargoyle wing stashed in over the course of weeks that you've
Yeah,
moved it.
it's fucking nothing.
Go ahead. You guys are there. You're safe from prying eyes. What do you guys speak about?
She's going to she's feeling in a good she's feeling pretty good because like Tiddly only came with her because he said his whole family was dead, and so she took him and he was cute. But now that like the family reigns on, even if he does not, she's feeling like kind of fine about that. Like, oh, I didn't kill like the last remaining church mouse in this whole thing. Like they're going on. So she's like, okay, she feels all right. So she's going to be a little more open with her information than she has previously been with Emmy, with the assumption, cagily enough, that Emmy's probably going to share with Varys. And that's something that she doesn't want, which is why she hasn't opened up yet. But she goes, she looks at Emmy. She kind of likes her. She goes,
I sit down and I'm like,
Oh, this is a cozy place.
yeah, it's my favorite. She kind of sits cross-legged across from you, but again, like cross-legged is, who knows what that means for Nosferatu. Just legs every place. And she goes, the Lycia Sanctum are moving. They're leaving. We have to
Oh.
find them again.
They're
And she
not staying in the
says-
church?
No.
I wonder what
And
that
she
means
says-
for the priest now.
Well, that is interesting, isn't it? Oh, that's out of character. You care. You're just like, hey, I wonder what that means for the priest. And then she goes, there's something to do with your sire. And I'm finding it out. I need your help.
Emmy is immediately interested, and from like the before she was kind of like in more.
Before you say
jovial
anything, she brings out her like really ugly, gross finger and just presses it over your mouth, like. Shh.
Oh, I wasn't gonna say anything.
I know,
was
but
just gonna make a face.
don't tell yet. But then she shuffles. I need you.
She,
you can talk now, but it was like, don't say anything to.
yeah.
Don't say anything. What do you mean by that? And what do you mean you need me?
You can talk. I'm not good at that. She absentmindedly starts ripping pages out of the Bible. It's just like, meh. They're really nice. They're like thin papery. It's pretty good. But she's kind of shuffling and a little bit awkward all of a sudden. Maybe the first time. Is it the first time that Callie's felt like kind of insecure?
Maybe.
Yeah, like you get.
That's your decision.
Yeah.
Feeling. Yeah, she is awkward in a lot of ways. It's just she doesn't like relying on people, and she knows that she needs you. And she says, I want to help. I want to know more, and I need you to join them and find names and find people that I can find, because right now I don't have anything at all.
You keep talking about how you need names.
And Emmy's kind of like, her demeanor has changed a little bit, because now she's like, my vice is pride, and like you just kind of like boosted my ego a little bit, because you're like, oh, I need you to even talk to people, and she knows that that's her thing. Yeah, so she's just like,
so you keep talking about names, but I need more information than that. What names are you looking for?
I need to. She doesn't want to say anything, because then, like, she put together, but she's like, high rollers, influential people, vampires who make stuff happen. I want to know who they are, so that I can find out more about them. Instead of, I have hit so many dead ends, so many names that I can't track, that I can't continue with. I need new leads.
So, you want me to climb the ladder?
Yes. And she looks really excited. She's like, yes, 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 yes.
I never really liked heights, but I think this should be fun.
At least getting the information. I know you can. And she does like this smile. It's kind of disjointed and a little bit fucked up, but you can tell that she actually is like proud and like keen with you. She's like, you get it.
it's like to other people that'd be like the creepiest fucking smile ever. Like,
oh yeah,
wanna eat it? Does she like me? I don't know what's happening here. But to Emmy, she's very empathetic, and
yeah, so she knows.
She knows.
It's rare for her to actually express that she really, really likes someone. And this is like the first time that you've actually seen, apart from just, you know, she doesn't say that she likes people. She goes with it. And in this case, she's legitimately saying it. It's just kind of like, ah.
And I guess that's kind of like where we're at.
Okay, sure.
But I guess I do have like one more thing that she would say. Maybe after a little bit of time, we're talking.
So you said they were moving. How am I supposed to join them if we can't find them?
Cal doesn't say anything. She starts more frustratingly ripping pages out of the book, though. She's
Is
like,
this the Bible that you stole from
yeah, it's the
Okay.
Bible. I have a couple of them now, though. And like, I mean, if you have one, you don't need that many more copies. So I can just like mess with these as I want.
I like to imagine that you're like setting it up into your fireplace and you're using, no, I'm just kidding.
I'm setting it up as like bedding for like maybe other animals or other things, like a little like crunchy pillow.
Nest. I got you.
Like something like that. It's kind of nice.
I mean, you do know that, you know, there is that person in the basement, and while you may not be good with words, Emmy is excellent with them.
I am nervous about that though. Like I wouldn't send her down there right now. Because well, how often does he get like busted into when he's like, there's totally going to be a connection there.
The fact that he was like surprised to see you, likely never. They probably likely never get busted into.
So I think sending someone else in there, especially asking about Lycia Sanctum, which again he did mention was incredibly strange. He was like, "How did you know that we were here?" And of course I am, but like, how is a 9-year-old Maquette gonna know? And so like I'm not going to. We can follow him. I have shadowing.
I'm also a stealthy mother effing.
I'm not stealthy, but I have shadowing.
All right. Well,
my skill.
On that note, why don't we end for the first break? When we come back, we're actually going to cut to Jimmy and see what Moonbow has to say, and then we'll continue from there. So guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a few minutes. We'll see you shortly.